Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that I did not chase you all the way by showing my ugly mug yesterday. I'm just joking. Next, I'll try a short live so that we can chat in real time. But you will have to give me a moment. I have to rebuild all the courage I used up yesterday. Okay, guys, I planned on talking about something I read which may be very applicable to Meghan Markle in terms of her mannerisms and habits. But as you know, curiosity killed the cat, and instead of stopping and making notes, I continued to scroll and found something I think we should talk about first. I saw that King Charles and Camilla were rushed out of a royal engagement on Monday following a security scare. Charles and Camilla were visiting Jersey during their two-day tour of the Channel Islands when their outing was cut short. From what I could find, which isn't much, the alleged threat was a drone which was spotted nearby by security, and personal protection officers were then alerted and they were rushed to a nearby hotel. Security and background checks were done, and a while later the King and Camilla resumed their visit. Now, I'm not ignorant, and although we do not exactly know what drove the 20-year-old to shoot at Donald Trump, it does appear to me, at least, or so far, that he was seeking fame and notoriety, as allegedly he had a list of other famous people he wanted to do. Now, I may be wrong. This is still an active investigation, and my opinion may change. But at this point, this is what it appears to be. But let's leave that for now. We will certainly know more soon. The point is that there are numerous reasons why people threaten the lives of others, and particularly the lives of the rich and famous. Jealousy, anger, politics, mental illness, love, money, and a range of subtext to the already mentioned. Sometimes people's mental state or their mental illness is such that they do not need any encouragement from anyone to do these disastrous, foul deeds. But sometimes they do just need one word to push them over the edge. We know that in 1981 there was an attempt to assassinate the Queen. On October the 14th, 1981, the 17-year-old Christopher John Lewis tracked the royal family during their New Zealand tour. He concealed a .22 rifle wrapped up in an old pair of jeans and travelled by bicycle to the Adams building, where he took up position in a toilet cubicle. He fired through the window at the Queen as she got out of a vehicle. The shot did not harm the Queen or anyone else, and at first the loud crack was attributed to a sign falling over, which afterwards they discovered was likely due to the shot. Lewis was arrested 8 days later and was charged with public possession of a firearm and publicly discharging a firearm. Of course, Lewis did not have a proper vantage point or a sufficiently powerful rifle for his purposes. He was sentenced to, I think, 3 or 4 years, and he spent the last year or so of his sentence in a psychiatric facility. So Lewis, I guess, can be classified as your run-of-the-mill nut, although he did in the late 90s kill a woman, and he himself was then electrocuted in jail. Anyway, in 1983, he also unsuccessfully tried to escape from yet another psychiatric ward when Charles and Diana visited New Zealand with William. On the 13th of June 1981, a couple of months prior to this incident, Marcus Simon Sargent fired 6 blanks from a starting pistol just as the Queen came past riding her horse, and then Sargent told the Scots Guards who captured him, "I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be somebody." So yet another nut who did this for fame and attention, we think. David Kang, an Australian barrister, fired 2 blank shots at Charles in protest of the treatment of Cambodian asylum seekers, and in 2018, a man named Hussein Rashid was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 25 years, encouraging an attack on Prince George using the messaging site Telegram. He was charged of the offence of encouraging terrorism. In December 2021, Yaswant Singh Chail broke into the grounds of Windsor Castle with a crossbow in the hopes of killing the Queen. We also know that Princess Anne was nearly kidnapped in the 70s. These things happen. The royals are not immune. Harry and Meghan, who are constantly moaning about security, their own security, appear to be more than aware of these threats, or at least it would appear so. So why are they, and this time I would in particular point at Harry, constantly incite anger and hatred in an already unstable world and environment? Don't you guys think that is a good question? In his book, Harry himself wrote how he, maybe even if just for a split second, considered taking his father out. In my hardcover book, it is on page 130. Harry wrote, "He drove off. As he went down the track, I told the Typhoon, new target, grey Audi, headed southeast from my position down track towards a big silver barn orientated east-west. The Typhoon tracked Pa, did a low pass straight over him, almost shattering the windows of his Audi, but ultimately spared him on my orders. It went on to blow a silver barn to smithereens." Harry's narrative since leaving the monarchy has consistently been angry and hateful towards his father, his brother, and stepmother, even if sometimes concealed by word salad and poor me talk. It is what is called being passive-aggressive. Of course, Meghan has not been any different or better, with her targets having shifted from the Queen to Prince Philip to Catherine. Well, back and forth between them, obviously, until the Queen and Prince Philip were both deceased. At first, I could not understand how anyone, even Meghan's die-hard fans and sugars, could not see or understand the obvious craziness of these two. But quietly I learned that there are far more crazy people out there than even I ever imagined. People who are quite prepared to threaten a stranger, someone they've never met or spoken to, just because this person may not be as taken with their idol as they are, or dare to criticize their idol. It is truly sick and twisted, and exactly why I cannot understand why Harry, who should know better, is continuing with his slights and shade towards his family, instigating hate and anger, and why he even appears to also push the envelope when it comes to his own safety. Remember his story about killing 25 Taliban, his so-called number, firing on men on scooters who may or may not have been civilians? I mean, it's disgusting, but also dangerous. So why is he doing it? I honestly do not understand Harry's psyche, his mental state, or his reasoning capabilities. I can only imagine that his already defective mind and thinking has been manipulated and skewed by his wife. Now, we've done so many analyses of Meghan's mental state, her narcissism, her delusions, etc., that it is almost becoming a boring subject. But I discovered something truly old, which we may have mentioned ages ago. But looking at it now, it gives a whole different perspective on who Meghan Markle is in reality. Now, why the media is actually bringing up this old story again and why now, I have no idea. But it certainly hits differently now than it did in 2018, 2019. According to Rebecca English, who is a fairly trustworthy royal reporter, Meghan Markle turned and hissed at a member of her entourage during their visit to Fiji in 2018. Now, I never heard of people hissing out of anger. Never. And I had to look it up and found that, yes, some people do. Now, it could be learned behavior in certain rural cultures of Africa. Apparently, it is fairly common to hiss at someone to warn them off or berate them or just warn them. But in general, where it is not a cultural thing, not learned behavior, it could indicate a little more, a small glimpse into someone's psyche. Hissing, as we all know, is commonly associated with the animal world, where it is used to warn off predators, etc. In general, a person hissing is considered rude, very rude, and rather uncouth, at least when you are an adult. Children who have been exposed to trauma or who experienced anxiety or fear may take to hissing or even growling when he or she cannot express their anger or fear in words, and when he or she cannot escape the situation by leaving the house or hiding or whatever. So basically, when a human hisses, it is either learned or cultural behavior or a deep psychological issue. What is it when it comes to Meghan Markle, though? Well, as this behavior is being brought up in the context of the bullying allegations, I can't help but guess that she has serious and deep psychological issues which could be rather scary when you really go down the rabbit hole of research. So what I cannot understand, and now understand even less in light of last weekend's attempted shooting of Donald Trump, is why there is no legal action against some of the most vile of the Sussex Squad or Sugars. Freedom of speech is one thing. Inciting violence is another. And last time I looked, it was against the law. Hussein Rashid was after all charged with treason and sentenced to life for trying to incite someone to kill Prince George. So why are Sussex Squad, and I mean the vile ones, immune to prosecution? Why are Harry and Meghan themselves apparently immune? Please note, I believe we are all entitled to our opinions, and therefore I seldom talk about the squaddies and the sugars. But there are a handful of really, really vile, sick ones. And those, the Fulanis and worse, are the ones I am actually talking about. How big a danger are they really posing to the royals, and are we going to see increased security threats to the royal family as the hatred increases? What did Meghan Markle mean by some of the remarks she has made recently and in the past? Well, I think we'll talk about that in another video. They are predicting rain for later, so I need to get out a little and get a little bit of fresh air while I still can. So, my dear friends, please take good care of yourselves until we meet again on the next one. Bye.